if you need to go into the store or if you need something from the store.
All right, welcome in, Crystal, Karina. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We may have people popping in and out as we go, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick walkthrough of the MyLab site that we're going to be using for this course and where you can find things and show you a little bit about the homework, etc. So first things first, this is the screen that you should see when you first get into the course. And after the first week, I'll change the landing page, but this is a preface to the student. It's about 19 minutes long, but it's not a bad thing to take a look at if you have the time. It will show you some of the features that are built into this interactive statistics product that we use. Later, we will go into this page instead, and this is probably where you should try to look. Right now, I've got it set up to show you what I would see, but let me switch it over to the student homepage. And what you'll see is a calendar that shows when announcements have been made, as well as when certain assignments are due. So you can keep track of things there. Also on the net, if we slide down a little bit, the announcements, the most recent announcements can be found here. You will be able to open up all the announcements from here as well. Current assignments, list assignments that are coming up as due. And your grade book will show up when you have grades actually in the system. You'll see that up here. Okay, the key to this course are the interactive assignments, and you can find those under assignments in the left-hand menu. And the first 5 that are listed here are interactive assignments. These are a combination of textbook, video, and lecture, where you're learning the material, but also getting checked as you go. After you make it through the interactive assignments for a chapter, there's a chapter review homework assignment that summarizes the key areas in those interactive assignments. These are weighted a little more heavily. They count for 3 times the interactive assignments, so they will impact your grade in a greater fashion than the interactive assignments. Let's take a look at a couple of the interactive assignments first. Click on the one for 1.1. I'll click on Start Assignment. And the navigation for these, you can use the arrows on the right and left side of the screen. Also, you can click on any of the tabs for the objectives at the top, or you can click on the objectives here. So we'll always start with the learning objectives for the section. So in this section, we're going to define statistics and statistical thinking, etc. Let me go to the 5th objective. So we start off with some text here explaining the different levels of measurement. And at the bottom, you can see there are 4 circles. Those correspond to the 4 pages that are in this objective. So we read a little here. We move to the next screen, and there's an example, and the examples will include videos. Now, in the first chapter, there's typically only 1 video per example, but in later sections, and I'll show you that as well, there are more than 1 video, and I'm going to let you know which one that you should watch, depending on the type of calculation tool we're using. So we can watch this video. They are closed captioned. It goes through an example of how to figure out what level of measurement belongs to a variable. On the next page is an exercise that you have to go ahead and pick the correct level of measurement. In multiple choice problems, you don't get, excuse me, unlimited attempts, but you will get more than 1 for this. So here, positions of runners in a race, I know that that is ordinal, but I'm going to pick ratio. I'm going to check my answer. And it gives me some information about how to handle this problem. Now I can go back and change my answer. Notice that it says final check. So that means I get 1 more shot. Let's go ahead and try interval, which is also incorrect. Click on final check. It lets me know that was incorrect. But now I can go back and do a similar question. And I have a new problem, same opportunity. So here, states in a region, those are things that are name only, and you're going to learn that those are nominal. I check my answer, and I get full credit for that problem. Notice at the top right, it says 1 point out of 13. I got that problem correct. A couple other things I wanted to show you in here. Question help. Help me solve this will walk you through a problem. Now at the beginning, when there's no calculating going on, this is a great assistant, but later on, it's going to show you how to do every problem by hand, and that's usually the worst way to do some of these problems. So be very careful with using Help Me Solve This. If a problem requires you to use StatCrunch, you can access that right here. I think the most important thing I want to show you is this button that says Ask My Instructor. When you're doing the 13th problem in a section, everybody has a different problem, and I don't know what yours looks like, but if you click on Ask My Instructor, that will send me a snapshot of your problem. In addition, there's a box here where you can enter a question, explain what you don't understand or what you tried, some sort of a comment. That will come to my email, and then when I respond, it's not going to go into my math lab. It's going to go back to your email that you're signed up for this course with. Also, if for some reason you want to work on problems while you're not connected to the internet, under question help, you can select print, and you can print either that question that you're on or the entire assignment. That part's up to you. Okay, so that's what an interactive assignment will look like. There's a little bit of reading, a little bit of watching, a little bit of doing. To get out of here, I could just close this window, or I could click on save. That doesn't mean that I'm done. I can come back and restart this as many times as I want, as long as I finish it by the due date, which is shown at the top. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you one more interactive assignment that has the multiple videos. So I'm going to go to section 3.1. I'm going to start that assignment. And I'm going to go to an example. Let's see, under objective 2. Actually, I should probably show you that too. This page shows you the steps for finding the median step by step. This explains how to do it by hand. So you just keep asking for the next part of the screen to open up. Here's an example that walks you through finding the median for this set of songs, their lengths. You can click on Show Approach, and it will explain how to do it. It will also show you the complete solution, step by step.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
When you press Start Assignment, we don't see anything further than that.
Oh, it's not showing that screen. Thank you. That was really helpful. Let's see. So I was off in the spring, so I didn't get all the fun of learning Zoom on the fly that you all did. So
Okay.
let me switch to that. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. How about now?
There you go. You can see
Okay,
that.
awesome. So here's the example problem, and I clicked on approach. It will show me the steps for finding the median. You may not see that actually. Now that I think about that. It will also walk you through the solution of how to do this, typically by hand, showing that the median is there. But above, I think that it's important that you try to do this in real time. Math is not something you learn by reading steps. You have to think about it, and that happens in real time. So I think the videos are more important. There are 4 video solutions for this problem. The one with the hand holding the pencil, that's how you would do it by hand. TI-84 is if you were using the TI-84 calculator, which we don't use in this course. The X is for Excel, Microsoft Excel. Again, we don't use that in this course. The best one is the one labeled SC for StatCrunch. And I'm going to make sure that I'm showing that screen as well. There we go. So this walks you through the actual problem and how to do it in StatCrunch. Okay, so that walks you through the entire problem step by step, the way that you would solve it using StatCrunch, but it also will explain how to interpret that result. So it's not just how to calculate it in StatCrunch, it is how to interpret the results as well. So you don't have to watch the by hand and the StatCrunch. I would recommend just the StatCrunch video labeled SC. So those are the interactive assignments. And again, the idea is that these replace the textbook and the lectures that you would see in class. And at the same time, it gives you a chance to assess whether you understand it with a exercise based on those examples. Now, one thing that I wasn't able to show you yet, there are some homework exercises where you only get one chance to answer it. And you will get a warning box in the center of the screen that says you only have one attempt. You want to make sure that you get those right because you can't repeat them. So my advice is to read through the question, then just back up a screen, read through what's on the page before or rewatch that video and be sure that your answer is correct before you go back and enter it. Now, if you get one of those problems incorrect, what we can do is if you send me an email with the problem you're working on, why the answer you picked was incorrect, and why the correct answer actually is correct, I can manually go in and give you credit for that problem. So if you run into that spot and you understand now why it was wrong, let me know and I'll give you credit for that. If you don't understand why it's wrong, send me an email and I can try to walk you through that as well. Okay, so those are the interactive assignments. I'm going to go back to the main screen. Oops. Share that one more time. So after these assignments, oh, and one more thing I should mention here, this reminder here does not apply to this class. It says you must score 68% on this assignment before you can begin section 3.1 homework. I haven't assigned the 3.1 homework, so you don't have to worry about that minimum score requirement. In addition to these assignments, we also have a couple of written assignments a week on the left-hand menu under written assignments. I'm going to click on the one for assignment 1 from chapter 3, and a PDF will open for that assignment. There's also a second one for chapter 4. Those are due at the end of this week on Monday at midnight. All assignments are due at midnight on Mondays. To submit these, let me go ahead and I'm actually going to open up the one for chapter 4. Open that up. Let me share that screen. So this problem asks you, one last thing, it asks you to gather some data about some fast food items from a particular restaurant of your choice. You should be able to find these on their website. For the item, you need to come up with the amount of fat, carbs, and calories. It then tells you how to enter the data into StatCrunch and how to save it so you can use it later. And then it asks you some questions. You'll do some calculations from section 4.1 and 4.2. How do you turn this into me? Well, for this one, it may be easier to print it out, write your work on the 2 pages, take pictures of them and email them to me, or insert those pictures into like a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc, and you can email those to me. That's one way to turn those in. I will show you a second way to turn those in. Let me switch screens. Go to this one. I'm going to back up to the main menu, and I'm going to slide all the way down to Course Tools. You won't see all of these menu options on your side. Most of these are for the instructor, but there is one here for document sharing. And it's similar to uploading a file to an email document. You would click here to upload document. You would select the document that you have. So if it's a Word document in particular, and you can upload it here. So either is okay for me. I think that I prefer them to be emailed based on my past experience, because if you email it to me and for some reason it gets spammed and I don't see it, or for some reason I don't have it, you can always resend the email with no penalty for being late. So it kind of creates a paper trail for you so that if there's any question, you can still receive credit for that. Some students, I don't use Canvas as a rule, but if you would prefer to upload your documents into Canvas, that would work as well. One other thing while I'm on this page, there's a link to email. This is one way that you can contact me. The email address that I use for this class is georgew@cos.edu. But you can also email me through this email link. Just select the instructor at the top, add me to the recipients, put a subject, and you can type your message down here. So that's one way to get me. You can just always email me as well. The address is here on the screen, georgew@cos.edu. And you can also reach me by using the Ask My Instructor feature in the homework that I showed you earlier. So a few ways to get a hold of me. Go back to the main menu. We discussed the written assignments. Again, those first two are due next Monday night, the 22nd at midnight. And technically, that really means before I wake up on Tuesday morning. So the homework assignments in my math lab have strict deadlines, and I can't control those. But the ones that you submit to me, whether it's the discussion board, which we'll talk about in a minute, or the written assignments, as long as it's before the following morning, that'll work. So if you're in a time crunch, make sure the homework's done by midnight, and the rest you can continue to work on. There is one discussion that's due this week, and there'll be a discussion due in each of the non-exam weeks. This week is just to introduce yourself by next Monday. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what your goals are, etc. I'll also be opening up a discussion board a little later today for questions from week 1 when you're working on chapters 1 through 4. If questions pop up that you would like to ask myself and your classmates, there'll be a spot here where you can ask and answer those questions. I got a question yesterday about the e-text. The e-text is exactly like the interactive assignments, but without the problems in them. So it's not really necessary to go through the e-text first, but if you want to review a certain topic, going back to the e-text is a good idea. Another thing that's in the e-text that could be an advantage to you is the chapter summary materials. So I'm going to pick chapter 1, and down here where it says chapter 1 review, I'll go ahead and share that screen with you as well. Actually, let me ask, do you see that screen that says chapter 1 review, chapter 1 summary on it?
Is it a video?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can see that.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Chris. So this goes over what's in chapter 1. The second screen is a list of definitions. So if you want to go over some definitions while you're working on your homework, for instance, there will be a question that will ask whether a variable is qualitative or quantitative. You can pop up those definitions just by clicking on them. Finally, the third page usually has a listing of the objectives, and some formulas will show up. When I go to chapter test, the second tab, these are problems that go over what was in the chapter. These are not graded, but the problem will be listed. You can click to show the answer, or you can click the video solution. And again, the later ones will have the videos for StatCrunch, SC, so you can actually see them being done using the computer rather than by hand. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. a couple of things that are helpful when you're working through the interactive assignments, and maybe in the opposite order, are my pointers and the guided notebook listed on the left. The pointers are documents that I've put together that summarize the important information from that section, things that I think are important, things that I think are not that important. And so printing those out and having those available is a good idea. I'm going to open up that page. And I'm going to just click on one of the chapters, for instance, chapter 1. The pointers are listed in links here to the right. In addition to that, I've included some videos of questions that students have asked in the past, and I'll continue to build that list of videos as we go. Let me just show you what one of the pointers looks like. I'll have to switch over to that. So again, this is just a summary of some of the important definitions. It will list things that I think are important or are not important, and some advice on how to solve these problems for yourself. So for instance, down here, discrete variables are counted, continuous variables are measured. That will help you to figure out whether a variable is discrete or continuous. Let's go back to the website. There we go. So these pointers, I think, are pretty valuable to you. A lot of my students in the past have printed these out and then they take their notes on there as they go, which I think is a good idea. Another thing that you can do is to take a look at the guided notebook. These go screen for screen with what you see in the interactive assignments. There are two types, or two formats. There are PDFs at the top or Word documents underneath that. If you're printing them out to write by hand, or if you're going to use them in a tablet where you want to write on the tablet, I think the PDFs are the way to go. But if for some reason you prefer to type, then the Word docs are a good choice. Let me just show you one of these. Try chapter 1. Open that in a new window. Let me just switch over to that. So this explains what you would see on the first page in chapter 1. Here's section 1.1. It lists the objectives. It gives you room to take notes as you go. The examples will be typed out, and as we get deeper into the course, less writing is definitely better. So the big problems, they're huge word problems, right? They'll have that already written down for you with the data values, and then you can just take your notes in the space provided. Questions based on it. Above, it always tells you which objective and which page you should be on so that you can keep track of your spot. Here's an example typed out and the questions that were asked. So this is another way to take notes and you'll have something that you can keep with you. So at the beginning of this course, it's only 6 weeks long, so we have to do it pretty quickly, but you need to find out what style works best for you. So is it better for me to work off the pointers or work off of the guided notebook or some combination of both or neither? You want to try to figure that out early and find a system that's going to work for you. The great thing about online education, remote education, is that you need to be able to find a way to make the course fit with your learning style and your schedule. And so you have a lot of flexibility, a lot of responsibility, but you can make it match what you do best, what's going to help you to learn the material and remember the material. Let's go back to the MyMathLab screen. Oh, I think I've just figured out I don't have to keep switching like this if I pick this one. As I told you, I'm a Zoom rookie, but I'm getting there. I'm going to switch what I show on my screen. Did it just switch for you as well?
Yes.
All right, perfect, perfect. Yeah. So now I won't have to keep switching back and forth. I'm a learner, sometimes a slow learner. What else is on the left side menu in my math lab? There is a link to the syllabus. So if you have any questions, you need to refer back to it, you can find it there. There's a link to your gradebook. As I mentioned, course tools are where you can find both the document sharing and the email button if you want to use that. StatCrunch, let's take a look at this page. There are actually two links that'll pop up here. Using data sets from your textbook, we don't actually do that. So you can go directly to the StatCrunch website. The username and password is the same as your MyMathLab username and password. Some of you, if you're using the, sorry, I lost my train of thought. If you're using the temporary access code, when you make your access permanent, if you're using Google Chrome as your main browser, you may have a temporary problem where it won't open. Send me an email if that happens and I can walk you through the steps to fix it. Basically, there's something in a cookie that doesn't get changed to allow you complete access, but I'll show you how to fix that when the time comes. Let's see, one last thing I should show you is the exam review materials. This, you won't see anything there yet, but you can you can see what I plan to make available to you. Links to review for the midterm, the portion of the midterm that you're going to take at home using paper, same things for the final exam. Information sheets are just basically formula sheets and some directions for using StatCrunch, and also some answer keys to some practice exams. So that will become active sometime in week 2 as we start to turn the course from learning the first 8 chapters to preparing for that first midterm exam. The exams are on, they end on Monday, July 6th for the midterm and Wednesday, July 22nd for the final exam. There'll be 2 pieces to each of those. One where you'll be working out problems, writing down your answers by hand and submitting them to me. A second where you'll be doing an assignment in my math lab that will be automatically graded. Those are not posted yet, but when they are posted, again, sometime at the end of week 2, those will be set up to where you have 2 attempts at each exam. Only the best score will count. In addition to that, you will have 12 hours per attempt. So I would be comfortable giving these exams in a classroom in a 2-hour period with no hesitation. I set it to be 12 hours so that you have plenty of time to get through those. It will grade your first attempt, let you know what you got right or what you got wrong. If you want to try it again, it's really a risk-free second attempt. So if you've made some typos, if you've realized something that you now understand that you didn't understand, you can try it again and only the best score will count. All right, so that's the MyMathLab site and a little bit about how the course is working. In general, let me go back to the assignments page and kind of show you the process that you should be going through. You want to work through each interactive assignment in a chapter and follow that up with the review homework assignment. If I scroll down here, as I scroll down, you see chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and so on. Everything for the entire course is already posted, so you can work ahead. You can't fall behind, but you can work ahead. So interactive assignments first. The review homework is to sort of help you put it all together before you move on to the next chapter. This week, we're covering 4 chapters. Chapters 1 through 4 are all posted and all due by midnight on next Monday, the 22nd. I do plan on having a couple of Zoom sessions where you can come in and ask questions, or you can submit questions ahead of time and I'll record the answers there. When we get to midterm week and final week, those sessions will happen every day, maybe even more than once a day, so that we can accommodate all your questions. Yeah, I think that's it. So this week, the MyMathLab assignments for chapters 1 through 4, those 2 written assignments that I showed you, and the one discussion board prompt, all due by next Monday. Does anybody have any questions or things that you'd like me to go over that I may not have touched on?
I wanted to ask for our grades, what's on the grade book as soon as we finish like one interactive assignment, is that like our actual grade?
Yeah, those
Okay.
grades are live. And one thing about that, Crystal, that I should mention is that say you did the first assignment and you get 100% on the first one. And you open the second assignment and you do one problem and now you're out of time. You have to go do something, whatever it may be, and you close it down. Your overall grade will look like an average of a 100 and maybe a 10. And so that will fluctuate a lot at the beginning when we don't have a lot of assignments. But once we get past the first week, you won't see that sharp drop along the way.
Okay, perfect, because I did that yesterday and I was freaking out.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a panicky moment, right? Like I thought I was doing really good and now it looks like I'm failing. It's only because that one low score counts as much as each of the other scores, and there just aren't that many yet. So don't let that get you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Anybody else have anything?
I just had a question on
Sure.
one of the assignments. So 1.3.9.
Okay.
Problem B. I just was stuck there, and I don't know
Okay.
if this is time for that or.
Yeah, this isn't bad. Let me just check one thing.
Sure.
So I'm going to my pointers page again. And this may have been before you got in here, but on each chapter, there are problems. Besides the pointers, there are videos that I've made. And that problem number, when you said it, rang a bell with me. And that's why I wanted to come here. There's a link to a video that walks through that all. But if I remember that problem right,
Yeah, I did watch that video, and I've gone through, but for some reason that the problem B is I guess I just it's not
okay.
clicking.
All right, well, let me try this. Let me pop that open. Mine's going to be slightly different than yours.
Okay.
1.3.9. Let me start that. I'm guessing it's pretty close to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a college employs 87 full-time faculty members. To gain their opinions, the president wishes to obtain a simple random sample that will consist of 9 members. So we're looking for a sample of 9 from a group that's numbered from 1 through 87. And so you're okay with part A, you said?
Yeah. Yes.
So after you get those, unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to answer these. So I'm going to get this wrong on purpose so that I can get to part B.
Okay.
Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. So it shows me what I should have picked. And by the way, after you get a problem incorrect, this little red triangle at the top of that box means that if you click on the box, it will show you what you answered and what the correct answer is. So you can go back and see what you did enter. Here, the president uses technology to produce these following random numbers. Determine the numbers for the 9 members to be included in the sample. So I'm looking at this real quickly. I see 10 numbers. But the problem is that person 23 has been selected twice.
Oh, okay.
So when I'm typing these numbers in, I'm going to type them I'm going to skip that second 23. So 45, 23, and type the rest 70, 16, 69. And then there's the duplicate 23. I'm going to skip that. 3, 25, 53, and 38. And so the problem there is if you only list the first 9, you really only have 8 faculty members.
Right.
And
Okay.
when you use technology to generate these samples, there's always the risk that you're going to have a duplicate. And so if you need a sample of size 9, I would suggest that you ask for even more than 10 numbers. I would say maybe 15. So in case you get some weird repetitions, you'll have more than enough to cover that.
Got it.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Anybody have anything else?
Let's see.
While you look, I do want to mention one last thing. If you came in a little after we started, I have been recording this, and once I get it captioned, I'll upload this to the YouTube site so that you can catch what you missed, but also so that the rest of the students that don't have 10 a.m. free on a Tuesday morning will be able to watch it as well.
Sounds good.
Another thing that I'll say is that even though like I don't have any Zoom official time scheduled or anything like that, if there are problems that I can help you with in a quick fashion like this, like that question that we just saw, you know, I'm available throughout the day. So probably the best thing to do would be to send me an email that I have a question on these certain topics or problems, and these are the times that are good for me. Then I can, when I get the email, I'll set up a time that also works for me, and we can run these meetings on the fly pretty quickly.
Sounds good.
All right, well, if there are no others, maybe we'll pause it here for now. And again, like as questions come up, the beginning of this course it's the hardest because you're getting used to a new style of a classroom and a new style of a textbook, quote unquote textbook. But it's also weird in that it's not like any math class that you've taken before, because chapter 1 is really all about definitions. There's almost no math in there at all. So you're getting used to this, but you're also, it's weird because you're not really doing math. But once you get to chapter 2 and beyond, you'll become more comfortable with the format, and you'll feel like you're doing math again. So it'll really shift once you get past chapter 1. So in terms of like the definitions, you should be really familiar with the definitions, but there's never going to be a time where you're going to be put on the spot. You know, what does this mean? Where you won't have your access to your resources. So keeping like a glossary of terms might not be a bad idea that you can refer to, but you'll never be tested on memorizing the definitions of those terms.
Oh, sounds good.
All right, well, it was good getting to talk to you, and I look forward to working with you throughout the next 6 weeks. Yeah, try to stay safe, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
Likewise.
Will do. Have a good day.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
All right, yeah, you
Bye.
bet.
Thank
Bye
you.
now. You bet, you're welcome. Thanks for being here.